Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 5 of What If Naruto Became a Fallen Angel. If you guys enjoy this what if, and want to see part 6 of it, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. Excuse me? Kuroka asked in a bit of a shock. Naruto felt a bit bad when he saw the look of shock her face when he told her the news. I see. Kuroka said, lowly, making Naruto a bit worried before she crashed her lips onto his own. Naruto's eyes were white as Kuroka's tongue slithered into his mouth. Kuroka pulled away after a few seconds with a wide smile on her face. I guess I'll just have to try hard, Nia. Kuroka said before grabbing his right hand and bringing it to her breast. You're my Naru-kun, you will father my kittens, even if I have to share you, Nia. Kuroka told the fallen angel. You don't love me, Naruto said, frowning. He could feel it in her. She cared deeply for him and had growing feelings, but it wasn't love yet. For now she wanted to have sex for him to get pregnant and have strong children, something that he refused to do. You could always see right through me, Naru-kun, Nia. Kuroka said, frowning a bit. But I can't say I don't like it. It feels nice knowing that you wouldn't take advantage of me just because you wanted a quick fuck, Kuroka said, getting off of him. Naruto smiled a bit as he turned on the TV. So that Kitsune you were living with called today while you were away. She said she wanted to come over for a quick visit with Kuro-chan in a few weeks, Kuroka said, leaning on him, and they watched whatever random program came up. Isaka-chan is coming? Naruto asked, a little surprised. It was rare for the Kyuubi of Kyoto to leave her area due to her presence being needed due to the ley lines. We'll have to make preparations for her arrival then, Naruto said, thinking about the woman who had let him live in her home for months while he was hiding from the other factions. True, it was that which led to his discovery, but he really enjoyed the time there. You miss her, don't you? Kuroka asked him with a small frown on her face. She knew that if it came down between her or Yasaka, the blonde would choose the Kitsune over her. Kuroka needed him, for the sake of her species, but she knew that eventually she would have to speak to him about office, or the dragon would confront Naruto herself again. Yeah. She was so kind to me. While I lived in Kyoto, it was like having a family, Naruto told Kuroka, who snuggled into him a bit. Naruto smiled down at the Nekomata. Both knew what it was like to live without a proper family. Hey, how about after we deal with this Rainer problem we try and work things out with your sister? I'm sure that if you explain the situation to her she'll understand, Naruto suggested. I don't know, Kuroka said. She'll understand, Kuroka-chan. Just trust me, she loves you just as much as you love her, Naruto said, reassuring her. Kuroka smiled and leaned in closer to him. Say I'm going to have a mock battle with Rias and her peerage later this week. How about after that we get together with Kaneko and talk things out between the two of you, Naruto said to the Nekashu. He really wanted to fix the relationship problems that stemmed from Kuroka becoming a stray devil. Hey Naru-kun, how are we going to deal with the fact that I'm still an SS-ranked criminal in the underworld? Even if Sharon-chan forgave me, I doubt our king would be willing to risk being involved with me, Kuroka said. Rias would be taking a massive risk if the underworld found out that she was willingly associated with her. Even if she was the sister of a Satan, that influence could only go so far. I hate that term so much, Naruto muttered. It made it sound like they were pets that had ran away instead of sentient beings with their own hopes and dreams. Naruto laughed a bit. I already started working on that. I asked Surziches to pardon you. It may not happen right away, but there is hope that if the other Satans agree you'll have your status lifted. Just don't do anything that could make the devils angry for a while, since that may deter them from helping you, Naruto said to Kuroka. Alright, I'll make sure to stay out of trouble, Kuroka said, but on the inside she was a bit nervous. She didn't know what office would send her to do. She couldn't oppose her if she wanted to keep her life. In a fight between her and the dragon god, Kuroka knew that she would be crushed. You're lying, Naruto said, frowning. Kuroka froze when she heard him say that. Naruto sighed when he felt her start panicking despite looking relatively calm. I wouldn't go into your personal business, Kuroka, and I hope that one day you trust me enough to tell me. But at least promise me that you'll try, or at least make sure they don't know it's you, Naruto said, patting her head. I'm sorry, Nar. I really want to be able to be with Sharon-chan again, but I have obligations that may hinder your efforts to bring my family back together, Nia, Kuroka told the Uzumaki, who picked up on the woman's honesty and sadness. Naruto moved so that Kuroka was looking him straight in the eyes. Kuroka's golden eyes met with Naruto's deep blue eyes. Naruto could see the tears forming in her eyes. Then I'll try harder, Naruto claimed, smiling as he wiped away her tears. Kuroka's eyes whitened slightly at what Naruto said. You're precious to me, Kuroka. I promise you that I will reunite you with your sister, no matter what, even if I have to fight against the gods themselves. And I never break my promises, Naruto said, smiling brightly. Kuroka blushed a bit at how determined he was to help her. It warmed her heart to know that she could count on the fallen angel for support if she needed it. But she was worried about what he said he was willing to do. Would he really take on a god, if it came down to it? Would he really be willing to fight even the likes of Office to make her happy? Naruto, would you continue to fight for me, even if it meant taking on a god? She asked him. You work for Office, don't you? Naruto said, smiling at the look of shock and horror on her face. Her mind was racing to try and figure out how the blonde had figured out who her leader was. She had never told him about her even though Office had confronted Naruto directly. I figured it out when she visited me. You were scared when you came home that day, right after she left, so I asked Azazel to question some of the fallen angels I had captured for trying to betray the Grigori. I'm sorry for snooping. But to answer your question, yes I would. Naruto said, smirking. Sometimes I hate that ability of yours. Kuroka pouted. But thanks. It means a lot to me. Kuroka said, hugging him. Being in his arms she felt safe. It wasn't like before where she was trying to seduce him. Having an honest hug with him made her feel warm. I know. Naruto said before separating from her. Let's get to bed, I have a few things I have to do tomorrow. Naruto said, crawling in under his blankets. Instead of leaving the room like he thought she would, she crawled in next to him under his blanket after taking off her shoes and belt. I think I'll stay right here, Nia. She stated, earning a sigh from the blonde who knew that even if he kicked her out she'd get back in anyways. Good night, Naru-kun. Night, Kuroka. A few days later, Naruto stood across from Ria's in her peerage. He had changed his outfit a bit, so he was wearing a black dress shirt and pants. His eyes locked with Ria's own blue eyes. The two had decided to take the battle far from the city into the nearby woods. Kuroka was watching from a distance to make sure no one spotted her. You ready, Rias? Naruto asked as he took in nature's energy, but not enough to enter sage mode. I'll hold back, but don't expect me to let you walk over me. Naruto said, having absorbed only enough to be able to sense their location and increase his defense a bit. Out of the peerage, Oliaseo looked particularly nervous about this spar. Stay strong, kid. Naruto thought before looking over at the other members. He couldn't help but admire the look of determination on Akeno's face. Let's begin, Ria said. Right off the bat, Kiba dashed at him with a demonic sword created by his sacred gear. Naruto leaned back, dodging the initial swing and sidestepped the follow-up attack. Kiba created a second sword in his left hand which was covered in flames. The fallen angel jumped back only to sense Kaneko above him, ready to punch him with her enhanced strength. Not bad, Naruto said, catching Kaneko's fist, much to both her and Ria's surprise. The ground under them cracked. But you need to try harder, Naruto yelled as he threw her back. Kiba charged in again with both his swords ready to cut into the blonde. A sword fight, eh? Naruto asked as he had a quick flashback to the day after his chat with Kuroka. Flashback, Naruto. Azazel called out to the blonde who was walking through the park in the city. I have a gift for you, the fallen angel governor said, holding out a sword. This is a Joyous, Azazel said with a wide grin on his face. Flashback end. Joyous, Naruto called out as the sword appeared in his hand in a flash of light. Naruto's sword cut right through both of Kiba's blades, as if they were paper. The blonde devil's eyes widened at the sight of the sword before he was filled with rage. Naruto's eyes narrowed when he felt a wave of anger flowing out of Kiba. The holy sword, Kiba spat out. Naruto's frown deepened as Kiba formed two new swords and charged at him again. Riz called out to him only to be ignored by her knight who attacked his fellow blonde. Naruto blocked and parried Kiba's swings easily thanks to his stronger sword and speed. In speed he was surprised that Kiba was able to go as fast as he was going. It wasn't anywhere near as fast as his top speed, but impressive nonetheless. Something must have happened in his past, Naruto thought as he destroyed the swords once again. Above, Naruto thought as he sensed an attack coming towards him. The former shinobi kicked Kiba way before jumping back in time to dodge a lightning bolt from the half-devil. Naruto grinned as he dodged several more attacks before spreading his wings and taking up to the sky. Kaneko and Kiba grew their own wings and flew at him. Issei just watched in shock how easily Naruto had avoided their attacks. Ryu sat back and analyzed the situation. He's really fast and strong too. I know we can't beat him, but I'm going to make it my goal for us to at least hit with a solid attack once, she thought to herself as she saw Naruto playing with her knight and rook. How are you so fast? Kiba asked as he swung at the blonde who sliced through his sword and kicked Kaneko away from him. The blonde devil's eyes shifted from the blonde fallen angel to Joyous with a fierce glare. The sight of that sword seemed to bring back terrible memories from what Naruto could see and feel. Fast? I'm not even going at half speed. Maybe you're just slow, Naruto teased as he channeled his light energy into his sword. Kiba flew away from Naruto when he saw him start to charge and attack. This is the first time I get to use this weapon in battle, be honored, Naruto said, raising the sword into the air. Joyous rain, Naruto called out before swinging the sword at the devils. Thousands of thin needles of light flew out of the blade as he swung it. The peerage scrambled to evade the area of effect of Naruto's attack before they got hit. We managed to dodge the attack, Issei sighed in relief as he looked at the area where they were standing before. It was covered in glowing gold needles which started to fade once they missed. Ryu's sighed also, and held back, reminding him that he would have gotten hit if she hadn't moved him out of the way. President, we need to do something. If he uses that attack again, we may not be able to dodge it. Akeno said, glaring at Naruto. Even if he acted different from the rest of his faction, she still had her doubts about him. There were too many unknowns about him not to be suspicious. Ryudo and Kaneko landed beside them, and looked up at the sword-wielding fallen angel. You could have killed us, you idiot. Ryuz yelled at him in anger. If any of her peerage had been caught in that rain of light, they might as well have been declared dead. Sorry. Naruto yelled, a bit embarrassed how he used a move that could have been lethal to the group. I have to be more careful. Naruto thought before sealing Joyus into a seal on his hand. He hadn't really thought about how strong the move was, and for a bit forgot that his light was deadly to devils. Kuroka would have killed me if I harmed her sister that badly. Naruto thought before flying at Ryu's group. Akeno shot another bolt of lightning at the blonde, who dodged out of the way. Got you. Ryuz yelled as she fired a wave of red and black energy at him. Naruto smirked and disappeared in a plume of smoke. In his place was a log which took the attack in his place. What? Rocket punch. Naruto yelled from behind them. His right arm separated a bit under the elbow and fired at Kiba. The knight turned around in time to hit the by the flying mechanical fist. That was so cool. Issei yelled with stars in his eyes. Whose side are you on? Kaneko commented, a bit annoyed by the pawn's behavior. Kiba stood back up from the attack with a bit of blood running down from his nose. It was easy to see that Naruto's attack had broken it quite easily. The arm flew back towards its owner, who caught it and reattached it to the rest of his arm. That hurt. Kiba grunted as he held his bloodied nose. He's toying with us, he said to the fellow devils. Ryuz didn't like it, how hopeless they were against Naruto. It was a massive blow to her ego that her peerage was so easily swatted aside by the blonde who was around her age. The difference in power was humbling, to say the least. We have to work together if we even want to have a chance. Kiba, Kaneko, you two engage in close-range combat with him. Akeno and I will provide range support. Issei, sit back and watch, Ryuz said. Issei was a bit insulted, but knew that due to his lack of experience he was the weakest link. Naruto smiled when he heard them start to work together. Good, Naruto thought. Well, they fought together, their teamwork for the moment wasn't that good. Kiba and Kaneko moved towards him with the knight going ahead of the rook. Naruto caught Kiba's blade thanks to his senjutsu enhanced durability, and used the popular blonde to bat Kaneko out of the way. Ryuz fired a sphere of her power of destruction at him. Naruto jumped to the side to avoid the attack. Got you? Akeno yelled as her lightning came down on him. Naruto smirked as he let himself get hit by the attack to see how strong her attacks were compared to her father's. Akeno blushed at the sight of him getting electrocuted, showing him her sadistic side. Not bad, Naruto said, dispersing the electricity with his wing chakra. His clothing was slightly burned, but he himself had taken nearly no damage from the attack. The Uzumaki wiped some dust off his shoulder. Your attack had a good kick to it, but it's nothing compared to what I've felt before, Naruto said, comparing it to Sasuke's attacks. He took Akeno-sen's attack like it was nothing. Issei yelled in shock. Just before he had seen a fallen angel get defeated by the sadist attack. This guy is on a completely different level than that guy Donosuke, Issei thought. From what he had heard, he knew Naruto was powerful, but it was different seeing it instead of hearing about it. Naruto laughed a bit. Come on, Naruto said, charging again. Ryuz smiled and ordered her peerage to attack. Naruto blocked Kaneko's kick by crossing his arms. Seeing that his arms were occupied by Kaneko, Kiba tried to flank him from the right while Akeno attacked from the right. Akeno used a spell, creating a spear of ice. Take this, the priestess of thunder yelled as she threw it at the sage. Naruto smirked, wrapping himself in his black wings. The three attacks connected with the black wings that didn't budge under the pressure. No, you don't, Akeno yelled as she summoned another massive lightning bolt from the sky. Kiba and Kaneko jumped away from Naruto as the bolt came. Attack connected with Naruto's shell directly. Ryuz covered her eyes to protect them from the cloud of dust created by her queen. Did she get him? Kiba asked. As they waited for the dust and smoke to clear, only for a powerful gust of wind to blow him and the rest of the devil group back. I guess not, he said, coughing up some dirt. Naruto was floating a foot above the ground with his wings spread out, looking fine. Naruto flew straight at him with a kunai in hand. Kiba summoned a fire sword and a demonic sword clashed with Naruto. Let's try this again, Yudo-sen, Naruto said, breaking the lock of the swords. The two blondes traded blows at incredible speeds. With every collision, more and more broken blades littered the ground, as Naruto's chakra-enhanced kunai was able to break them with ease. Kiba was easily being pushed back by the fallen angel, who wasn't even breaking a sweat. Damn it. The knight cursed as he created a large long sword and swung at Naruto. Naruto blocked the strike with his superior strength. He wouldn't even budge, Kiba thought as he tried to overpower him. Kiba, you're really fast. Hell, you're even faster than some old friends of mine, Naruto complimented before breaking the sword and kicking his feet out from under him. Naruto threw the kunai next to his next. But you have a long ways to go, Naruto said, grinning. Got you? Naruto heard from behind. Naruto stepped to the side and caught Kaneko's extended fisted and threw her into a tree. Kaneko jumped back onto her feet and moved to attack Naruto again. His senjutsu. Kaneko thought as she tried to hit him over and over again only for him to evade all her hits. Looking into his eyes, she saw that he was impressed by her. I want to learn it, she thought as he caught her fist instead of dodging. Kaneko-chan, your strength is amazing. You remind me of an old friend, maybe one day you'll reach her level. Naruto said, punching her in the stomach, sending her flying back. Like a cat, she landed on her feet only for Naruto to appear behind her and grab her into a headlock. Your durability is also incredible, to be able to take some of my chakra, enhance punches, and I can sense you have some serious senjutsu potential. Kaneko was in awe of his power. She could feel how powerful his energy was despite him barely taking in any nature energy, and how peaceful it was compared to the chaotic energy which drove her sister to kill her master. If she could learn to use senjutsu like him, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Teach me, she whispered loud enough for only him to hear. Sure, Naruto answered, grinning, before throwing her into the ground on her back. Do you surrender? Naruto asked. Kaneko nodded, earning a smile from him as he turned his attention to watch the sage walk towards her comrade and smiled slightly. Despite being in battle, his energy never lost its kind and calming feeling. The half-fallen angel on the other hand frowned as he started to walk towards her. Akeno narrowed her eyes at him before flying towards him with her devil wings. Holding her hand out, a jet of fire came out of a magic circle at Naruto. The blonde moved out of the way. Stand still. Akeno yelled as Naruto dodged her follow-up lightning spells which destroyed the trees behind him. Out of everyone here, I have to say you have the most in common with me in terms of history, Naruto said, getting near her. Naruto punched her in the center of her chest. Both of us were hated for things we couldn't control, Naruto said, grabbing her right leg and throwing her into the air. Akeno corrected herself in mid-air. Naruto flew up at her. What do you mean? Akeno asked, the blonde firing bolts of lighting at him. Naruto weaved through all her attacks faster than she could track. You know nothing about me, she yelled as she created a massive seal in front of her. Dozens of bolts shot out of the seal towards the Uzumaki. Naruto frowned as he flapped his wings, sending dozens of hard and black feathers. I know more than you think, Naruto said as he watched his feathers block Akeno's lighting attack. But I would rather talk about this in private, Naruto said, vanishing in a burst of speeds. But this is my win, Naruto said, taking in enough energy to enter Sage mode. Senpo Konoha's secret finger jutsu, 1,000 years of death. Naruto yelled and he channeled senjutsu chakra through his fingers and jabbed them into her plump ass, blasting her panties into pieces in the process. Akeno's eyes whitened as she felt Naruto's fingers enter her. Her face went red as she was launched into the ground. Akeno moaned in pleasure from the feeling. Rias blushed at the perverted technique that left her best friend moaning on the ground. Bastard, she said. Okay, enough, Rias said, smiling as she walked over to the blonde. We surrender, the Redeed said. She knew that her peerage could continue to battle for a bit more, but she didn't want to risk any of them getting injured by accident. It was clear that they were outmatched at the moment, and even if they managed to hit him, it was because Naruto let them. Thank you, Naruto-kun, for the spar. I got to see how my team would do against a stronger opponent, and even learned a bit from this battle, Rias said to the man who may end up being her husband. Think nothing of it, Rias-chan, Naruto said before kissing her forehead, earning a blush from the busty devil much to Issei's distress. I'll be over tomorrow to spend some time with you, okay? But for now I need to talk to Kaneko-chan about something, Naruto said, walking over to the short girl. What do you need with her? Rias asked, curious about what the blonde wanted to speak with her rook about. Naruto smiled at how much she seemed to care for Kuroka's sister. She also noted that she needed to have the forest repaired due to their stray attacks. It's about Kuroka, Naruto answered honestly. Ria's eyes whitened at the name of the criminal, but decided to trust her possibly fiancé. If he wanted any of them dead, he would have done. Rias nodded, giving him consent to take Kaneko with him. Thanks, Rias-chan, Naruto said, picking up the loli and placing her on his shoulder. The Nekomata was oddly quiet about meeting her sister. She had promised Naruto before that she would give Kuroka a chance to explain herself before she casted further judgment on her actions. Let's go, she said softly. Naruto nodded and vanished with her. President, are you sure that it's okay to trust him with Kaneko-chan? Akeno said, a bit wary of the fallen angel. A bright blush still stained her cheeks from the memory of Naruto's last attack. I'm sure, Keno. Just trust him a bit, Rias said. Damn all that, and not a single scratch to show for it. Kiba groaned in pain and dissatisfaction. To make it worse, it was obvious was holding back his strength to such a scary degree. With Kuroka, the Nekashu was nervous as she waited for Naruto and Kaneko to arrive at her location. This is it, she thought as she readied herself for the confrontation with her sister. It wouldn't be long before they got to her location, and she got a chance to speak with her sister for the first time in years. Kuroka-chan, Naruto said, announcing his presence to the Nekashu. The black cat turned around to see Naruto with her sister on his back. Naruto picked Kaneko off his back and placed her on the ground next to him. The two sisters looked at one another for what seemed to be an eternity. "Ni-san," Kaneko said coldly. Kuroka frowned at the tone. "Naruto-san said you wanted to speak to me." The white Nakamata said to her sister, who nodded. "Is what he said true?" The Rook asked Kuroka. Naruto just watched as the two sisters interacted. The entire area was tense as the two sisters gazed into each other's eyes. "Yes," Kuroka responded as she walked over to her sister. "Shirin-chan, I am so sorry," Kuroka said, hugging her. "I never wanted to put you in harm's way when I killed that bastard," she finally said. Naruto could see her tears starting to flow and smiled, knowing that Kuroka was being honest with Kaneko. "I was put on death row because of you. If Suzuki-sama hadn't arrived when he did, I would have died," Kaneko said with a bit of anger in her voice. The feelings of betrayal from years past surfaced before her sister. How she was nearly killed in fear of her becoming too powerful to control herself. How she was looked on as a monster by others because of what her sister did. He wanted to take you. He wanted to add you to his collection and use you in some crazy experiment to make you stronger. "I couldn't let him experiment on you, Shirin-chan, so I killed him," Nia, she admitted to her. "I wanted us to be a family again like before that bastard found us, even if we lived in poverty. But as long as you were with me, you were in danger, so I fled. If I went to you, the manhunt would have killed you too, Nia," Kuroka said, crying. "A no-win situation," Naruto thought to himself. He could compare it to what Itachi had to go through from what the S-rank criminal had told him. They had to kill in order to protect what was precious to them. Itachi killed his clan to protect the village and Sasuke, and was labeled an S-rank Nikinin. Kuroka killed her master to save her sister from being a test subject. Kaneko had an expressionless face on while she listened to what her sister had to tell her. It was all so much to take in at once. Everything she had believed until now about her sister was incorrect. "Because of you, I was almost killed," Kaneko said, earning another apology from her sister. "But you saved me from being a lab subject, and because of that I met Rias and the others," she added. "Thank you," Kaneko said to Kuroka, his eyes widened. "I may not be able to forgive you fully, but I can understand that you did what you thought was best for me," Shirin said, earning a wide smile from her sister, who hugged her tightly. Kaneko returned the hug and took warmth in the sisterly hug she had been missing for years. It wasn't. The two separated, before looking at Naruto. "Thank you, Naruto-kun, for everything," she said, looking down at her sister with a smile. Naruto nodded and turned to leave, so the sisters could have their moment in peace. "I'll see you at home," she called out to the blonde, who waved and vanished. "You two live together?" Kaneko asked her older sister, who nodded. "Yep, he's gonna be your brother-in-law one day, you know," Kuroka said, blushing a bit at the thought of marrying Naruto. A perverted smile spread across her face. "You know, I don't mind sharing him, and maybe once you mature a bit more we can have a little fun, just the three of us," Kuroka suggested. Kaneko looked away with a light blush but was smiling lightly. "Pervert," she said, earning a shocked look from the older Nakashu. With Naruto felt content. He was happy that the two sisters could start to finally rebuild their bond after so long. Now all he hoped for was that Suzuki was able to do his part and clear her name in front of the other Satans. He knew that it wouldn't happen overnight, but he could see eyes start to form. "I also have to start planning how to train Kaneko-chan in Senjutsu. I don't have the Toad Oil to help her with gathering nature energy, but it should come easier for her since she's part yokai," Naruto thought before throwing a kunai behind him. "Kai." Naruto looked back and nearly had a heart attack when he realized he had accidentally none other than Seraph Leviathan. Naruto's sweat dropped at her appearance. She was a young-looking woman with a childish body, but with exceptional breasts. She had long black hair tied into twin tails and bright violet eyes. Her outfit was what stood out about her. She wore a pink and white magical girl outfit and hat. In her left hand was a pink wand with a star at the tip. "You're so mean, Naruto-chan. Attacking Leviathan like that," she cried out with a pout. "So this is the Satan with the title of Leviathan?" Naruto asked himself in his head as he analyzed the woman. To say her appearance was odd was an understatement, or at least by his world's standards. "I feel like this world is some kind of eki manga. I want to go back to shonen," Naruto cried internally. "Hey, what are you thinking about?" the Satan asked as she looked at him from different angles. While she was definitely already earning the weird ranking in his mind, he had to admit she was cute in her own way. Wow, Suzuki-kun wasn't lying when he said you were strong. "I'm the magical demon king Leviathan." She posed, making a peace sign next to her right eye and winking with her left. Naruto's sweat dropped despite how cute he thought it was. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Seraph Leviathan. I too have heard much about you from Suzuki," Naruto said casually. Suzuki had given him a quick rundown of all the important figures in their pantheon, from Michael to Ajuka Beelzebub. He didn't tell him any of their weaknesses, but that was understandable. "So what do I owe this pleasure?" Naruto asked. He doubted a Satan would randomly visit him without some motive, with the exception being Suzuki, who was his new friend and probable brother-in-law. Seraphol deflated a bit but regained her enthusiasm quickly. I wanted to see what the talk about this super fallen angel was about, she said using a mock manly voice when she said what she classified him as. I expected something scary, but you cute, she said, winking at him. Okay. Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. It was then that something popped into his head. If I remember correctly, she is the Satan in charge of foreign affairs. Maybe she can help me and Surzich's with removing Kuroka's status. Naruto realized. It was a long shot, but it was worth a try for his friend. Say Seraphol-sen. Naruto said, getting her full attention. Has Surzich's mentioned anything about the stray devil Kuroka? Naruto asked the Leviathan Satan, whom she thought, tapping her finger against her chin. Oh yeah. He mentioned it 2 days ago to me and Ajuka-chan. Falbium-kun was there, but he just said that he didn't really care and went to sleep. She told him, pouting. Well, Ajuka-chan said well, it went against the laws set in place. He could see where she was coming from, and if Surzich's was on board, you would support him. Seeing what she did to protect her sister, I couldn't help but support her case as well. Plus she's a cute kitty-chan, she told him. Naruto sighed in relief knowing that the Satans, or at least 3 of them, supported lifting Kuroka's criminal status. So she's in the clear? Naruto asked with hope in his voice. We still have to make it official to the rest of the devil's nobility. She broke one of our most important laws, so many of the clans see her as a threat to devil society. They're also scared of her senjutsu, which they blame for her going out of control. Seraphol said, explaining the situation to the blonde who nodded inside. It wasn't what he wanted to hear, but it wasn't unreasonable. Most devils didn't understand senjutsu, and held the value of contracts to the highest extent. But that's not why I came all the way here for, she exclaimed. HM? Then why seek me out? Naruto asked, confused. I want you to become my knight in shining armor, she yelled with a wide smile, holding out a mutated knight piece. No? Naruto said plainly. Seraphol looked crestfallen at the answer he gave her. I really don't like the system the underworld has put in place with the peerage system. It leaves too much room for some to abuse and turn people who should be teammates and partners into nothing but slaves. Ajuka-san made evil pieces to repopulate your species, but letting people use it to get servants and force people into harems. That's disgusting. Naruto stated, rejecting the system the devils use. In his mind, those reincarnated as devils should not be servants to the king but allies. Seraphol frowned but understood where the fallen angel was coming from. In a way, it was servitude, considering if you rebelled you were labeled a criminal regardless of how you were treated. Still, she wasn't one to back down. Oh, come on. I promise I wouldn't be like that. I treat you with respect and make sure you have everything you need, the Satan said, trying to convince the blonde to join her peerage. Not gonna happen. Besides, would your evil piece even work on me? I'm sure Surzic has told you about how I came to be a fallen angel, so I don't need to go over everything. Naruto responded firmly. Azazel had used something based and made out of a set of evil pieces. In essence, it had taken a full 15 pieces to reincarnate him into a fallen angel plus whatever modification Azazel had done to them. Yeah, you were human before Azazel revived you, Seraphol said, recalling what Surzic had told her and the other Satans. Ajuka was more than a little annoyed that his creation had been hijacked and used by another faction to gain such a powerful ally. The sheer possibility that Naruto was stronger than Surzic, as suggested by the man himself, was something they could never reveal to general devil populace without preparation. I guess it was a long shot after all, the ice user sighed. And here she thought she could get a new member to her peerage. Yep, anything else I can do for you, Seraphol-san? Naruto asked. He didn't really have any place to go at the moment other than checking on Calwarner, who was watching over the Nanashia. Not that I can think of. Well, I guess I'll just be going. See you around, Naruto-chan, Seraphol said, winking at him. A magic circle appeared under her as she prepared to teleport back to wherever she had to go. Oh wait, she cried, stopping her teleportation. She reached into her cleavage and pulled out 2 passes. I'm having a live filming of my show in town tomorrow, and since you're marrying Riz-chan, I thought it would be a great way to spend time with her. Plus the 3 of us can hang out afterwards. Oh, maybe I can even get you 2 in on the show, Seraphol said excitingly. The idea did appeal to him to a degree. After all, he had been in a movie once before. Naruto was grateful for the offer, since he hadn't really thought about what he would do with Rias when he decided to spend time with her. He didn't mind having to talk to Seraphol either. In his opinion, she was fun and a good presence to be around. Thanks, I don't know about being on the show. I'll make sure to stop by with Rias-chan, Naruto said, accepting her gift. See you there, Naruto-chan, she said before leaving the blonde by himself. She was interesting, Naruto said with a small smile on his face. She basically radiated positive energy despite being a devil. Looking at the 2 passes he had been given, he blushed a bit, remembering where she had kept them the entire time. She was cute too, he added before vanishing using Shunshin. Later that day, Naruto walked into the occult research club room to find most of Ria's peerage recovering from their battle with him. Out of all of them, Kiba was the one who looked the most beat up, followed by Kaneko, who had taken quite a few blows from him. Issei was perfectly fine since Naruto hadn't targeted him at all. He knew that the boy had a huge amount of potential, if he was right about how powerful his sacred gear was. When he looked over at Akeno, she looked away with her face lighting up bright red. From the sound of rushing water, he could tell that Rias was in the shower. The overall group looked pretty down due to how badly they got beaten by him. But liven up, you guys did better than some of the rookies where I come from, Naruto said, placing a cake in front of Kaneko, who looked at him with a small smile. Comparing you to the rookies in my class back home, I say you're on track to being powerhouses, Naruto said, sitting next to the white-haired girl. You crushed us, Kiba said bitterly. He has a holy sword. I guess he doesn't know what some people had to go through because of those bastard weapons. Kiba thought to himself, unaware that Naruto could feel the negativity rolling off of him. The former shinobi took notice of this and would put it to the side for later. True, Naruto said, cutting a piece of cake and placing it on one of the plates on the table. Say, Kaneko-chan, Naruto said, holding a spoon with a bit of the swipe on it in front of her face. Kaneko happily ate the cake, earning a jealous look from Issei. How's the cake, Kaneko-chan? The blonde asked the cat girl. Kaneko swallowed. It's great, she answered before being fed another piece, much to her pleasure. Naruto looked over to the shower when he heard the water stop, meaning Rias would be out sooner or later. Kaneko frowned when she saw Naruto looking away from her. She didn't know why, but she felt something inside of her stir when she saw his attention being away from her. Feeling a pull on his sleeve, Naruto looked down to see Kaneko staring at the cake on the plate he was holding. Naruto chuckled and fed her again. By the time Kaneko had been fed the entire slice, Rias had exited the shower in her school uniform. The Redeet smiled when she saw the blonde getting along with the white Nekashu. It was rare for Kaneko to open up to someone after what happened to her when she was young. Thankfully, it seemed like Naruto was well on track to helping her get over that dark period. Hey Naruto-kun, Rias said, walking over to the two. Do you need anything? She asked. I wanted to know if you were free tomorrow, Naruto told her, pulling out the 2 passes he got from Seraful. I got 2 passes to go to the live shooting of Seraful Leviathan's show, Naruto said. Rias' eyes widened at the implications of what he was saying. Is he asking me out on a date? Rias thought to herself in shock, leaving her cheeks dusted red. Akeno looked amused by the way Haking was reacting to getting asked out by the blonde. Yes, she was annoyed that he was a fallen angel, but it wasn't like she could do anything to stop Rias. Are you asking me out? She asked Naruto. The blonde raised an eyebrow, but nodded nonetheless. Yeah, I mean, we may get married, we might as well get to learn a bit about each other. Maybe get comfortable going on dates would be a good idea for the future, Naruto elaborated, earning a nod of acceptance from her. Now wait a minute, Issei yelled with tears streaming down his face. How come you get all the girls? You already have Kaneko-chan and her lowly body, why don't you leave some girls for the others? I just want to feel some oppai, he cried, nearing him a glare from said Nekomata, and an amused laugh from Naruto and Akeno. This guy reminds me of Jiraiya-sensei, Naruto thought warmly as he recalled the time he spent with the old hermit training to bring Sasuke back to the village. Isn't your dream to become a harem king? You know, Issei, you would have gotten along well with my old master. He was a self-proclaimed super pervert, and spent countless years spying on women in the bath, and using what he saw to write his books. And despite all his perversion, he was easily one of the strongest people I knew. I can tell that, if you master your sacred gear, you'll be stronger than him, Naruto said, earning a shocked look from the pervert. Issei never expected to be praised to that level by the former shinobi. Everyone in the room could tell that Naruto held his master in the highest regards from the way he looked while talking about him. Was he popular with the ladies? Issei asked in high hopes. Nope, Naruto responded, simply earning a faceplant from the student. Naruto laughed at the disappointed face Issei made, and he walked away with a dark cloud over his head and muttering curses about blondes. He'll go far, Naruto thought before turning his attention back to Rias. So you in? He asked her. Yeah, Rias told him. At least he was trying to get to know her, which was more than she could say about Riser. All he had ever cared about was her body, and having the bragging rights about having her as his wife. So what time should we meet up? Rias asked. I'll pick you up at noon. The event starts at 3, so we can get something to eat before we go, Naruto answered. The rest of the day was spent talking between members of the peerage and Naruto. Rias sat next to the blonde, content with how things were going. When she first learned that even if he won, she would be forced into a marriage with Naruto, she was furious. She wanted nothing else than to throw him out. But he was quickly proving to be a far better man than Riser. The fact that he wanted to get to know her was something Riser wouldn't have ever thought of doing. Soon it came time for everyone to return to their homes. Naruto and Issei apparently lived in the same general direction and decided to talk on the way home. You're so lucky, Naruto-san, you get to marry a girl with such amazing oppai as the president, Issei said to the blonde. It was clear that the teen was jealous of Naruto, but thankfully he didn't really seem to harbor any negative feelings towards him. You know, it's not set in stone, right? Besides, I wouldn't marry her just for her boobs. Naruto said to the pervert who nodded, seeing where Naruto was going. He wished he could say the same about himself sometimes. He would admit that if Rias asked him to have sex with her, he would have agreed without a second thought about. He really admired the blonde not only for his position with Rias, but his ability to fight. In all his confrontations with fallen angels, he had been crushed by them, and yet this person who was around his age. "Hey, Naruto-san," Issei said, getting his attention. "How did you become so strong? You're about my age, and yet it's impossible to compare the two of us." Issei asked the ninja, who looked a bit shocked at the statement. Issei had gained a huge amount of respect for the blonde during the spar. Naruto proved that not only was he popular with the ladies, but that he possessed powers that blew his expectations. Naruto was reminded a bit of the conversation he once had with Haku and Nami no Kuni. The advice he got that day changed him for the better and stuck with him to this very day. "I became strong because I have people who are precious to me. When a person has something important they want to protect, that's when they can become truly strong," Naruto told Issei. "An old friend once said those words to me," the blonde said. Issei looked at his hand where his sacred gear was sealed. Naruto's words rung in his head as he thought about what he wanted to protect. Did he have a reason to fight besides his dream of having a harem? His mind moved towards this family, the people who were always there for him to raise him. To his friends. To the peerage. "I want to protect my family and friend," Issei said to Naruto. "Then train. Train with all your might, knowing that, if you don't they may die," Naruto said seriously. He himself hadn't been able to protect everyone he cared about during the war. Both Neji and Obito died, because he had been too weak. With the Chaos Brigade on the loose, who knew what would happen? Issei, in this world there are people and creatures that will kill those close to you just to spite you. You may be a devil, but your parents are human and easily killed by most supernatural beings. Issei looked down, knowing the blonde was right. He was no longer human now, and now was open to a wide range of new enemies. He shuddered at the thought that Naruto could have been like Rainer and attacked him. "Do you really think I can protect them?" Issei asked Naruto. The blonde nodded. "With that toy of yours, I'm sure you can once you get the hang of it," Naruto responded. "Thanks," Issei said before seeing his street. "It was nice talking to you, Naruto-san. I promise that I'll get stronger and protect the president for you," the pervert said to the fallen angel. Naruto looked grateful and bid him farewell before they went their separate ways. As Issei walked to his house, he clenched his fist. "I will become stronger," he thought as he threw his door to see his parents waiting for him with dinner ready. With Naruto. Once Naruto got home, he headed straight to his room. "I guess no one's home," Naruto thought as he walked into his room to a pleasant surprise. "Yusaka-chan," Naruto said, grinning when he saw the blonde kitsune sitting in one of the chairs he kept in his room. Yusaka stood up and hugged Naruto, who hugged her back. "It's been too long, Naruto," she said, smiling. Naruto blushed a bit at the sight. She looked beautiful with the moonlight peering in through his window behind her. "Kuni-chan fell asleep a while ago. I decided to wait for you to come home. I'm really happy I did," she told him, surprising him with a quick kiss. "Yusaka-chan?" Naruto asked at the sudden action. He never expected her to kiss him. Yusaka placed her hands against his chest and nuzzled into him. Her 9 tails wrapped around them. "What's going on, Yusaka-chan?" Naruto asked the leader of the yokai faction. "You're really selfish, Naruto-kun," Yusaka said, softly drawing circles on his chest with her finger. "You made me feel so much but just left," she accused, looking up into his confused eyes with her golden eyes. "For 3 months these feelings grew. Sometimes I wish I never agreed to meet with Sursa-san. If I hadn't, you could have stayed with me and Kuni-chan. We could have continued to grow into a family." "Yusaka," Naruto said, confused as her tails tightened around them, pressing her plentiful chest against his own. He could feel that she wasn't wearing a bra under her kimono from the feeling of the 2 buds poking into him. He felt himself start to harden a bit and tried to calm himself. Yusaka's hand caressed his crotch, halting any attempts by him to calm his growing boner. "Do you find me attractive, Naruto-kun?" the golden fox asked him. Her hand undid his belt and slipped into his pants. "Enough," Naruto snapped. "What's going on, Yusaka-chan? Why are you acting like this?" Naruto demanded, only for her to kiss him again. This time, unlike before, it was more heated as she moved her tongue into his mouth. It only lasted a few seconds before Yusaka pulled back. "You're so dense when you don't use that power of yours," Yusaka said to him. "But I'm happy you're not, because I'd rather say this to you than have you read my mind," Yusaka told him and unwrapped her tails from around them. As they did, a kimono fell, revealing her naked body to our blonde hero. "Don't you think you're rushing this a bit much?" Naruto questioned, only for her to push him back against the wall of the room. "I want this, Naruto-kun. I haven't been held by a man since Kuni's father years ago. Since then I have never wanted to get close to a male and feared that the same thing would happen. But when I met and got to know you, I knew you were the one I wanted to raise a family with, no matter what," she said, ripping Naruto's dress shirt open. "I love you, Naruto. So come," she said, walking over to his bed and sat in the middle. Naruto blushed as she spread her lower lips. "Mate with me." Naruto's mind was a mess. He didn't know what to do at that moment. Curiosity got the best of him, and he used his empathic ability. The blonde froze as he was bombarded with the feelings of love and lust from the woman. The very woman who let him live with her and her daughter despite the risk. His first real friend in this world. But a key question came to mind. Did he love her? Here she was presenting herself bare before him. Isaka saw his hesitation, and turned away from him. Her head dropped. I messed up, she thought as tears gathered in her eyes. Naruto-kun, I'm sorry, she said before being pushed down on her back by him. Isaka-chan, Naruto said softly as he locked eyes with her. His eyes had changed from last time. His confused eyes were filled with love. Love directed at her. You know I may have to marry Ria's Gremory. Are you sure? Naruto asked her. He felt strange, but he already knew what he was feeling for her. Polygamy is common in our world, Naruto-kun. I offered myself to you knowing this far in advance. I love you, Naruto-kun. The 3 months we lived together were the best I've had in a long time. When I first caught Kuroka-san sleeping in your bed, I was so furious. I thought she had stolen you from me. But as time passed, I accepted that I may have to share. Isaka told Naruto, looking down at the bulge in his pants that hovered over her privates. Naruto leaned down and kissed her lips. If this is what you want, Isaka-chan, I'll accept your love, Naruto said, pulling off his pants. And I'll return it tenfold, he whispered into her ear. Naruto looked over Isaka's body once again, but instead of seeing her as a friend, he looked at her as a lover. Her alabaster skin glowing in the moonlight. Her bright pink nipples poised on her perfectly shaped bosom. Down her flat stomach to her white hips and toned thighs. Between them her wet folds with a small patch of golden hair above. You're absolutely beautiful, Isaka, Naruto said. Naruto grunted as she jerked her hand forward. Despite this being his first time, everything was coming naturally to him. Maybe it had something to do with him being a fallen angel. Moving away from her breasts, Naruto kissed her soft flesh up to her collar, and have a few gentle sucks. Isaka gasped and bit down on Naruto herself. The former shinobi winced a bit as her fangs entered his flesh. I've marked you as my mate, Naruto-kun, she said happily, looking at the bite mark in the blonde's neck. It was something she hadn't even done with. Kunu's grinned and kissed her again. His tongue slithered into her mouth and wrestled with Isaka's own for dominance. Their moans and the sound of slapping filled the room. After a while, the two collapsed on the bed, exhausted from their actions. Isaka seemed to be returning back to a sensible state of mind. That was amazing, Naruto-kun, she said, nuzzling her face into his neck. Naruto had also recovered and held her in an embrace. You did most of the work, Isaka-chan. Tu never expected you to have that side in you. So much for the innocent priestess. Naruto teased, getting a giggle from his lover. Who said anything about me being innocent? I just never got a chance around you, she whispered in his ear. It was then that she noticed Naruto's horrified face. What's wrong? She asked, hoping that he wasn't regretting what they did. I forgot Kunu-chan was in the room next door. What if she heard us? Naruto questioned. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, Isaka said, wrapping her tails around them like a blanket. I placed one of those seals you made for me a while back on her room. She didn't hear a thing, Isaka answered. Knowing this calmed Naruto, who nodded. Looking at the clock, she noticed it was almost 1 in the morning. Let's head to sleep. I have to head out tomorrow morning. Naruto agreed. He wanted to spend more time with her, but as a faction leader her schedule was packed. Both let their exhaustion take them to the land of slumber. Next morning, Kuno ran into Naruto's room with a piece of paper with a drawing of herself, Isaka, and Naruto together in the temple they lived in Kyoto. Naruto saw me. Look at the picture I drew, she said before seeing Naruto and her mother sleeping peacefully together, wrapped in golden tails under the blanket. A wide smile made its way onto her face. My wish came true, she yelled, jumping onto the bed, which woke up Naruto and Isaka in shock. My wish came true, she said, smiling brightly. Isaka's tails unraveled around her and Naruto. Isaka and Naruto shared a look, before laughing along with Kunu, who sat between them on the bed. Naruto swore at that moment that he would do anything in his power to find a way to let Isaka live away from the burden of the ley lines. He was sure he and Azazel could figure something out. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification, and also check out the other videos that I have created, and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.